So hi, hello, official. Welcome to Doodle Crew. We're back. Yay! Happy 2020 Tuesday. Nailed it. I'm very excited. I'm here with two wonderful artists. I'm super excited for what we're doing today. It's very silly, but I like it. And today we are doing not so presidential portraits. So here in the US, we're on our winter break, which is often President's break. And this is how I'm choosing to celebrate it because I still have to work this week. So this is the way I've decided to celebrate. But yeah, let's do the thing where we go around, introduce, and tell them what you're working on. Mayor Squish, to you.
Hi, hello, I'm Mayor Squish. Today I'm gonna be doing William Howard Taft in the style of Klimt.
Yay!
Because he had a gold phase, and so do I. So that's gonna be fun.
Yes, golden watercolor. I love it. Love it. I'm excited. Yay. And lovely Philomena, on to you.
Bonjour. I am. So last stream that I was on, I used one of these Trekell panels.
Yeah.
So I've got another one of those today, and I am putting together a advert for Bunzi for President, and he's running on the platform that we should all plant more carrots.
I love it. And can you tell people a little bit more about Bunzi? Because I know Bunzi, but...
So Bunzi is my pal. He has hopped away right now, so he is in the other room doing something, I guess preparing for his speeches. Bunzi is a cartoon character I created based on an actual rabbit that I adopted. And from adopting Bunzi, I became involved in fostering homeless rabbits, because rabbits are the third most abandoned animals in the U.S. At least it was when I was fostering. And through Bunzi, he became like this ambassador for all these homeless bunnies. So now I have a cartoon cutout that he travels the world with me, and we sketch together. And he's got his own coloring book. It's on Amazon. If you look up Philomena Jack on Amazon, you'll find it.
You can color with Bunzi, which I love because in my brain, my first thought was like, he's white and black. I'm already done. But there's a lot more to it.
And here's a fun fact. So, if you're ever in a Bunzi trivia contest, you could win with this fact. Bunzi in real life was a black bunny, but I decided that it was easier to print him all the time if I just used a black outline.
I like that. See, this is good. These are the things that people are going to dig up on his presidential trail. And, now we'll know. We'll have it from the source.
Yeah, that's
right.
I
love it. I'm excited. That's so fun. I love Bunzi. I have a sticker of Bunzi on my water bottle.
Yay.
Yeah. And so I, to no one's surprise, because it's who I am as a person, I went to the side of the prompt. And rather than doing a strict president, I am doing a president's daughter. So I am focusing on Alice Roosevelt Longworth, who seems like an absolute bamf. She caused her dad a lot of trouble. Seems like she got into some stuff, and I kind of love it. And she, for some of her life, had a pet snake named Emily Spinach, which is just the best. So yeah, like this is her. I'm gonna draw her because that's just too fun.
Yeah,
and that's me.
It's that dress, oof,
right?
So good.
Yeah, no, the big time Gibson girl vibes, which I'm just feeling it.
Yes.
Yeah. So I like it. All right, sketch.
Okay, I'm gonna flip my cam.
Yeah.
Maybe I do this every time I do it. Like, where camera, front back camera. Okay.
There it is. Yes, but there's one of my favorite quotes from this is apparently this is when President Roosevelt was in office, when Teddy was in office, and like he was in the Oval Office, he was going through something, and apparently Alice was causing all of this trouble, and he got so frustrated, and his quote, which again, I don't know if it's real, but hey, it's in Wikipedia, so I'm going with it, is, "I can either run the country or I can attend to Alice, but I cannot possibly do both." And I love it. I love it so much. I love it.
Has anyone here read Lincoln in the Bardo by George Saunders?
I have not.
So if you're into president stuff and surrealism and ghosts and some sadness, amazing story. So George Saunders is my favorite author. He teaches in Syracuse. I have his email address. I've done his portrait. But Lincoln in the Bardo, if you're feeling you want to do something presidential, check that out. It's such a cool story. And as I said, I mentioned that it's sort of surrealist. With most of George Saunders' work, you have to just go for the ride and know that he's getting you somewhere really cool.
Okay.
So a lot of that book is written as though you're reading through newspaper articles about events.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. I'm trying to think how I want to distill all of these like 6 thoughts that I just had branch out of my head down into something that's actually makes sense. But there are times where I feel like if I had been given just that little preliminary blurb that was like, nope, it's going to feel real weird. You just got to kind of hang on because it's going to get there. There are some books that I would have enjoyed so much more because the payoff was there, but because the, kind of the cliff to get into it, like that first crest of the roller coaster, it was so intense that it threw you that you couldn't quite get in. So, you need that. You need that little bit of like, it's okay. You got to kind of just get used to the way that they write. Counterpoint to that, though, they always said that about Clockwork Orange, and I just slogged through that one to get through it, and I don't think it ever got easier or better for me.
I agree about Clockwork Orange. So if you're going to try to read it all as quickly as you can, because there's a dictionary in the back about the verbiage that they use, and you will forget like milk cat or milk chat or some form of word like that. You'll forget what they're talking about. But yeah, I agree. Like aesthetically, I dig the look of Clockwork Orange.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know there's an adult version of that?
More than the adultness that it.
For Scherzies, there's an adult version.
Oh my gosh! I did not.
She drops her pencil. She drops her paintbrush. Yeah, I don't think it's as good as people say it is.
Okay.
The Clockwork Orange. But good on you. Did you have to read it for a class or did you read it on your own?
I read it on my own.
Well,
yeah.
you got no one to blame.
This is true. No, it's absolutely true. Now, Heart of Darkness, that I had to read twice for school. So I blame school for that one because I hated that both times through. It did not get better.
I don't know that. What's the synopsis of that one?
It's Joseph Conrad. It is about a character traveling through the Congo and into what he calls the Heart of Darkness. And I think I've blocked out a lot of this. I think he's searching for companions or other people who went on this, like trying to colonize down there, and gets involved with a tribe of cannibals, and it's a whole thing, and it's just him losing himself, being lost in the jungle type thing.
Gotcha. Is it his hero's journey?
Yeah, I guess, but I don't think there was anybody who was a hero in that. So yeah, that one was it starts tough, and like I think again, like many of the books I had to read around that time, kind of like with Hemingway, like I know I'm a simple creature, but I want someone to root for. Like just give me somebody that I can kind of hope makes it to the end of the book.
Yeah,
And
totally.
there was nobody in Heart of Darkness where I was like, man, I hope they're okay. And I'm just like, I don't care. I don't care. I'm done. You all suck. I want to stop.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think my push, and it was in college when I read Clockwork Orange, and it was because I was in art school, and it was, you know, much like I think Catcher in the Rye, where everybody's like, oh, it's so blah blah blah, and you know, it influenced me so much, and the language and everything, and I'm just like, I watch a lot of Disney. Is it like Disney? No, the answer is no.
That's funny.
Not. Yeah.
How about the movie Eraserhead? Did anyone watch that?
I did not. I know of it, but I did not watch it.
How about Mayor Squish? Any interest?
No, I don't know any of these things you guys talk about. I mean, just generally.
That's fair.
So Eraserhead is a surrealist movie. It may be in black and white, or it may just be my memory of it being in black and white. And I have to say, so when I'm feeling judgy-judgeroo, I'll ask a person, what'd you think about Eraserhead? And if you say it was the best thing you've ever seen, I just give you a little bit of a wince and a side eye. But it's another one of those things like Clockwork Orange where it's like, oh my God, you haven't lived until... And for some people, sure. But for me, nope.
Yeah. I don't know. I think part of that experience is just not what I'm looking for in a movie experience.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't mind being made to feel a little uncomfortable, or, you know, have some difficult things to kind of contend with. Like, I get that. That can be helpful and good sometimes, but yeah, just again, you got to give me something that I can enjoy.
Yeah.
But oh, and I did not watch a ton. I don't think I watched the whole thing, but I watched a good amount of it, and it was Jacob's Ladder. And I felt the same way about that, where I'm like, I feel like this is just being weird and trippy to be weird and trippy.
Mm-hmm.
Which is fine. Just, again, I don't seek it out or work to put that in my repertoire.
There's a funny Family Guy scene where Peter says, it insists upon itself.
That's kind of perfect, though.
And so I've got him in my head when I... Has anyone been watching on Disney Plus the Mysterious Benedict Society?
No.
So it's definitely, you know, kiddo, young adultish story of 4 disparate orphany type children who go on this adventure. But the most important part for me is the color palette. you know how I always get... So who is it that did the Darjeeling Express and
Wes Anderson?
Thank you. Is there a director that does scary movies that sounds like Wes Anderson?
Wes Craven.
Thank you. Have
I'm doing well today.
So much better. You have made my life so much better. You don't know. So the Mysterious Benedict Society feels like a Wes Anderson-esque situation. The color palette, like whoever is doing their like director of propping and location and all of the things has stuck to a very specific color palette, and it brings me joy.
I love that.
And there's some of my favorite actors. So Christian Schall.
Kristen Schaal.
Yeah, so she's in it. And some other actors I really enjoy, and so
that's awesome.
I'll give it a B+.
Ooh, all right. Is it animated or is it live action?
No, it's live action.
Okay. Because I know she does a lot of voice stuff.
Yeah.
So.
And she was on 30 Rock and she was brilliant.
So I actually, one of the times, it's such a random thing, and it's not an exciting story by any means, but I think it's neat. I was in LA hanging out, and we went to get ice cream, and we were coming out of the ice cream shop, and her and someone she was sitting with were like right outside the shop, and I did that like double take thing where I was like, "You look familiar," and then I kind of looked back and I was like, "Oh, you look familiar because you're famous."
Right.
And kept walking, but it was one of those. I was like, I've not spent a lot of time in LA, and I hadn't really ever had one of those like random encounters in the real world with someone who I only know from being famous. So
yeah,
it was funny, but I was like, "Oh, ice cream."
that would have been a hard one for me not to like gush, like fangirl gush.
Yeah, thankfully I was with other people, and like they kept walking, and I was like, "Did you see that?" And they're both kind of like, "What?" And I'm like, "Nothing. Never mind. I'm cool. I'm cool.
I'm trying to think. I've seen all right, we should know this about me already, but I never know the names of people nor get their IMBD situation correct when I'm talking about it. So research all this stuff on your own. So one of the actors in A Mighty Wind and Spinal Tap.
Okay.
And he was on The Simpsons. Hank, maybe? No.
Azaria?
Anyway, one of those guys. I don't know. He was in Staples in front of me in Manhattan once.
Oh.
And he could have probably felt my like, oh my God. And so I just I just like kind of signed to him, I love you, like, and whispered it. And he winked and nodded.
Oh my God. I love that.
But again, I wanted to be like, hug me, let me lick your face.
Yeah.
But I reeled it in, girl.
Yeah. There are times where the I want to lick your face urge is very strong. And at Comic-Con, sometimes I'm like, just be normal. I know you're not normal, but be as normal as you can be right now and just talk like a human.
Right. Humming, like,
Yeah, it's bad sometimes.
So one of my favorite artists is Wayne White. He did a lot of the puppetry for Pee-wee's Playhouse.
Okay.
And he's just an amazing artist all on his own. There's a really great documentary called Beauty is Embarrassing.
Ooh.
And he plays the banjo, and again, just face lickable. Just love this guy. So I went to an opening, and his wife, Mimi Pond, I believe, who is one of the first really popular graphic novelists.
Okay.
Again, like in the New York scene, late 70s, 80s, let's say, into the 90s. I don't know. Again, I'm telling this story, so believe nothing. So I went to a Wayne White opening in Manhattan once at a gallery, and I fangirled and freaked him out. And he like moved away, like, we're just going to move away slowly. So what are you going to do?
Yeah, it's funny to me because I understand, especially at Comic-Con, like some of these artists really are not like extroverts and people. Like they don't get excited about being out in the world, and they're just like, oh God, there's someone coming to my table and I have to be human. And so it's very hard sometimes. I'm like, I respect you and I respect that thing about you, but I also need you to know how excited I am.
Yeah.
And I can't hold it in. Yeah. I don't think there's...
Okay, let's who would be our number one person to meet that's like currently making art?
I have a couple that I've actually like met in person, but it was very quick. And so I will take this as these are people I would love to like sit in a room and hang out with. And
That's way better.
So I would go Amy Reeder, who is a comic artist. They're all comic artists, let's be real, because of who I am as a person. Yeah, so she does a ton of like indie stuff. She's covers for Moon Girl and I think maybe just Moon Girl. I'm trying to think of the name. It had a big old dinosaur on it, which was cool. But I love all of her indie stuff. Sarah Pickelli, who was the artist who was on the initial run of Spider-Man Ultimate when Miles Morales was introduced. So she's done a ton of stuff. Oh, like I just love both of them so much. And then Helen Ming Chen, I think is her name. She was one of the art people who worked on character design for Big Hero 6. So those are my like I want to hang out with you and can I just sit here and watch you guys be cool?
Yeah.
So, okay, I have two that are YouTubers, but they're artists, so like they're art YouTubers.
Yeah.
The first one is Emily Artful because she does like kind of dark, twisted-ish watercolor painting.
Yeah.
So she has a lot of like bones and skulls and stuff like that, but then also she brings in like kind of beautiful components like crystals and flowers and stuff like that. And I love her so much. And then the other one who I just like for her style, her name is Audra Eclair. They both run incredibly successful businesses. Like they sell their art and just everyone loves them. Everyone loves their art and I think they're cool.
Yeah. Can we hang out with Drawing with Waffles as well in that crew?
Yes.
Because I love her so much.
She reminds me of you so much.
It's like I feel like we'd be friends.
I would pick Mary Englebright, who's one of my favorite illustrators. And I remember being a little kid and going to like the Hallmark store, and she had a whole line of tchotchkes that I at that time could not afford. You know, like mugs and just junk, and it was awesome. And then she had a magazine for a while, which I'm so sad that I don't know where those are anymore. I think one of my downsizing rampages, they went to somewhere else. And her company sort of like tanked at one point, and she built it back up, and she's still like working in the illustration space and the goodies space, the like home junk space. And so her name is Englebright, and she has these cute kind of 30s inspired esque drawings. But then she has a side of her line she calls Ingle Dark, which which is generally just black and white and grumpier, like a lot grumpier. So I have I in that same series where I painted George Saunders, I also painted Mary Englebright. And when I paint someone famous, I always contact them and kind of let them know, or I try to get their blessing. I don't know. But I did her portrait and she did not respond, which, you know, was like more badass. I don't know. So I definitely want to meet her. And then there's Elisa Burke online. So same thing. She's an indie brand, and she just draws like big funky stuff. And like the mural I did in my office was inspired by a huge mural she did somewhere in her house, but she used lots and lots of color. And she's smart, and she just seems like a real person. So 100% want to meet both of them.
That's very cool. I want to do this. No.
I've started myself off with this neon hued paint, and so it's really warping how everything else looks, but I know just keep going because it's gonna be okay.
Yes. Yeah, I've been watching more art YouTube and specifically focusing on people who talk about their digital coloring process and the different colors that they put behind and the ways that they do it. And it's one of those where it's such a weird thing because I understand the words they're saying. I understand what they're saying about how I put this color here for this reason and this is why it does this thing. And then I, go back to my digital art screen and I was just like, I understand nothing. And I haven't quite figured out how to truly transition it into my coloring, but trying.
Now, that's what's been going on with me with this. Like, I have just been experiencing some sort of technology, I don't know, space in my brain that isn't working anymore. I mean, I
Okay.
used to teach software stuff, like really high-end stuff in fancy places. And now literally like getting a webcam set up has like just taken me out of the loop for the whole afternoon. Like, I don't know. And again, I'm watching videos and I'm like reading the things and it's like, go here, go there, do this, press this button. I'm like, I don't know. It is sapping my energy.
It's frustrating.
Yeah. I shall overcome.
And I think this is a weird thing, but it's something I personally struggle with a lot. Like when I was trying to figure out how to sign up and apply for health insurance and stuff like that, where I'm just like, okay, like I'm not great at this, but I understand it. And like I would read these sentences and I'd go and look it up and I'd check, click on the tips thing and do all of that and be like, okay, here's a hint, blah, blah, blah. And I'd sit there and I'd read it again and I'd be like, I still just don't understand. Like, I don't think I'm stupid, but it's so weird to sit there and be like, I cannot take any of this information that I have absorbed and turn it into anything useful to actually solve this problem. And like, it's just the most demoralizing feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. That's all about bad design, I think.
Yeah.
That's just when, so think about these agencies are trying to spend as little money as possible to design this really high functioning thing, right? And it just, what's that saying? Like you could have it cheap, good, or quick.
Yep. You can't have all three.
You can't have all three. You have two. Pick two. So they're going for cheap and quick, right? And I hear you. Like when we were trying to figure out this happened a few years ago. There was some glitch in the before times when we had like real health insurance through an employer. There was something we had to like make a decision about something, like press a button or don't press a button.
Mm-hmm.
And between my husband and myself, like not for nothing, but we're pretty like smart folks. Like he's got 2 master's degrees and I'm smart enough. And we pressed the wrong button because we thought a sentence meant something it didn't. And it cost us thousands of dollars for the year. And that's frustrating. And it, like you said, demoralizing. It makes you feel like, hold on, what else am I doing wrong?
Yeah. Yeah. And then I try and take it as the like, okay, I'm getting a new, insight into how my students feel sometimes when,
Sure.
what I'm telling them just isn't sitting in, and like I get it, but at the same time, I have trouble because I'm just like, I don't even know what question to ask to start to figure this out. And
Yeah.
hate that feeling.
That's, putting on my coach's cap. That is the feeling of being wrong is one of the things that all humans are all the time trying to avoid. And when you are wrong, or it appears that you're wrong, because maybe you're not wrong at all, but when it appears that way, we really feel this jab that the Death Eaters have come.
Yeah. That's such a perfect way to describe it, because it is what it feels like. You're just like laying there on the ground, be like, I'll never feel happiness again.
That's right. I'll never be jolly again.
Yes.
That's the real lie, folks. That's the real lie.
And I just need chocolate.
Oh my God, these are looking so beautiful. My fellow artists. Oh, that inky blue. Is that Payne's Gray blue you were using, Mayor Squish?
So, yes and no. So the Payne's Blue Gray is kind of what I'm using to tint all the colors so that they're kind of cohesive. So yes, but also no.
I love it. That is like, if I had like 3 tubes of paint that I had to get out of the house quick, it would be my Payne's Gray for sure.
Yes.
And that blue background that you're using, Emily. Oh, that's the color of my coat, my big blue coat.
I love blue. Yep. I went back and forth. I had to decide if I wanted to do full color, because there are some color portraits of this lovely lady, but I thought it would be fun, since I was feeling frustration with my color and coloring recently, to do it in grayscale. So we'll see. We'll see how I feel about it once I get into it more. But
one of my favorite painters, Greg, I think with 2 G's, Crayola is his like street name, Greg Crayola Simpkins. He has a technique where he just paints in grayscale. He uses acrylics, and then he just does transparent washes. And he only uses like 3 colors. I know he uses green, gold. He uses some sort of yellow and a red, but he only has a few actual like pigmented colors in his kit. And it is magic. That's another thing, like watching it happen in front of me and trying to do it. Like, it's like, no, it must be because, he's using something different. He's not.
Yep.
He's just gooder at it than I am.
Yeah. Yep.
That's okay.
Ah, hi, Dell. Thank you. Very elegant. I was thinking, I liked the idea of the little cameos, kind of that brooch that's got someone on it, either, one that's a locket and it's painted, or I always love the ones that are like a dark background with just solid white for the characters. I always think those are so cool. Oh, so Mayor Squish, I meant to ask you, was there a specific draw to the the person that you chose from a character standpoint, or?
I'm kind of. I wanted to pick someone who has something like, I guess, unique to them, because like most of the presidents in this era were just like old white men,
Dudes.
which I mean, still kind of true today. But
Yeah, we're working
Taft,
on it, but we're slow.
I know. But Taft has this like really long beard, so it's kind of something interesting.
Yeah.
So, although now that I'm painting it, it looks a little bit more Van Gogh-ish. So
Yeah, I'm digging it though.
mashup.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful already.
Thank you. We'll see if it stays that way.
Those ugly stages can be frightening, but you just keep rolling.
Ooh, all right. I figured out what I might do because I like this pose, but I feel like my little snake friend is getting lost. So maybe the only pop of color that I'll do is I'll make him, because she said she named him Spinach, or him, I guess, or her. I don't know. I don't know how to tell the gender of snakes, and it did not say, but that she named it Spinach because it was green. So maybe we'll do some little pop of green in there to get her little snake friend to pop out. Pull that color out.
Did it say what age she was when she had? Do you know?
Let's see. So this was when this was around turn of the century, so like 1900, 1908. So I think from 1901 to 1910. She was, and so in 1901 she was 17. So her late teens, early 20s, it sounds like.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But I've been there's a podcast that I've been getting into recently, called Noble Blood, which is fun. They're just short little kind of vignettes, I guess. So highly produced, but beautiful scripted. And it's just a woman narrating these little stories. So far, most of them have been about women, but different women in history. Like the one I just listened to spoke about the woman who was one of the mistresses of Lord Byron and all of the stuff that she went through. So her name was Catherine, but it was really fascinating. And it's not necessarily a whole just history on them, but it's usually like this little snapshot of them and a bit of time where you get to kind of hear some of the craziness. And Catherine Lamb. So it's really cool, but that it feels like Alice Roosevelt would be a good candidate for this, because I feel like she had some adventures. So Catherine Lamb went a little nutty. She's a little crazy, but talented writer. But it also sounds like Lord Byron was a dick. So, which I will admit I know very little about, because poetry has never, other than, let me rephrase that, other than Shel Silverstein, there's not been a lot of poetry that's ever really grabbed me. But I love me some Shel Silverstein. For those canvases that you got, Philomena, do you have to prep them or prime them in any certain way, or do they come all
These
set?
are raw, and you're supposed to prime them and sand them, which would have helped me not get that splinter early on. But I don't do it because I'm not trying. I don't care if it's a really slick surface. In fact, I like the texture of the wood,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just like a lot of steps and meh. That's
Yeah.
just, but you're supposed to. And then these that I have to the side here, is from a class that I do. These are shims that you buy at Home Depot or Lowe's
Oh my
or whatever.
gosh. Yeah.
So these are just shims, and who knows? That's like, long live the garbage wood.
I love it.
That's like you can add a paint or a fabric medium to acrylic paints, and then you have to like set them and heat them up and all this stuff. And my theory is that just try to get acrylic paint out of your clothes. I dare you.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're being swindled, though. I do actually own that stuff. It's in the studio here somewhere because I'm like, oh no, maybe, but I don't know.
Yeah, I'm with you. For the amount of acrylic paint I've gotten on my clothing that has lived through hundreds of washes,
Yeah,
it seems fine.
yeah, 100%.
Caroline. Oh, that's right, Del, because her nickname is Caro. Sorry. Yeah, I misspoke. Caroline Lamb, not Catherine. But, yeah. Oops. Yeah, just get a little bit of
I'm taking this online illustration course right now, and it's not so much about the art of illustration, but the business of illustration.
that. Mm-hmm.
So it's 4 months long, and we've been given a story, a little snippet of a story, and then we do an illustration of that story. And then this next part of the assignment is to create a toy based on our illustration.
Ooh.
And it's been so much fun. The course is called something, or the company of courses is called Make Art That Sells. And it is definitely a space where you have to manage how much of the other classroom activity you're looking at. Like, there's a group where you can see everybody's galleries.
Mm-hmm.
And there is some beautiful, beautiful work being produced. I'm just being really careful to not oversaturate and feel like some sort of comparison trap.
Yep.
Because I make art the way I make art, and other people make art the way they make art. And I mean, they're making amazing, fabulous stuff. And, my stuff is lovely as well.
It is. It is absolutely lovely.
Thank you.
Oops. Well, none of that was what I wanted. I did 4 brush strokes and they were all wrong. There's something that I always admire about your art in that it has so much movement and so much life to it and personality, like that they jump off of the canvas. And I think that's one of those where I don't think you can teach that. I think you can teach technique that helps you make images more vibrant or more saturated, but you can't teach the energy part of it.
Is that, who's that?
That's to you.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much.
Yes, I selectively pick when I compliment Mayor Squish because she makes faces at me and I don't want to throw her off her
I
game.
don't want to miss that. Oh my God, Emily, there's so much I love about that. I can't even.
Thank you.
Oh.
She's a fun. The expression is so fun. I dig her. I dig her.
So here in the big old house we're in an 1897 Victorian, and there's this little porch off the bedroom that I call the Feminist Porch, because I imagine people like when they first women bobbed their hair, right?
Mm-hmm.
They went out onto the porch and they're like, we're cutting our hair, and like when they got the vote and when they like thing after thing after thing, right? They went out to the porch and they shouted about it, like, I'm gonna wear pants.
I love that. I know I talked about it. I think it might have been on one of my personal streams, but I was talking about finding some new brushes that I downloaded into Clip Studio, and it's fun because they mimic real art supply, not real art supplies, but traditional art supplies, in an interesting way because it is still digital. So there's still aspects of it that you are understanding is digital, but it's neat to have different layering tools. And I mean, there's tons of like oil paint brushes and acrylic and chalk and all of that. I never quite find those feel as good, but this is a neat little like marker brush, and I can kind of build up on some of the layers of that and the opacity, and it behaves more like markers that I'm used to using. And it's been a fun little, like, I don't think I could finish a whole piece in it for some of the other work I do because it's just not quite clean enough for some of the final commissions that I'm doing, but for my own fun, it's a nice exercise. It feels good to do. Which I was talking to I've been very lucky. Over the past few months, I think I've talked to 3 different groups of kids about working as a professional artist, which is always funny for me to say, even though I am, and I've been a professional artist for years. I'm just like, I mean, yeah, I do things. That's a thing I do. But I like to tell them how selfish I am as an artist, because there are so many times where I'm like, no, these pieces that I made, they were just for me. If someone else ends up enjoying them, that's a bonus. But I made that straight up because it made me happy and nobody else.
Yeah.
Like, this is important. I need you to know that.
It's freedom, y'all.
Well, a funny one that actually relates to Mayor Squish and her fianc, which is just the way that TikTok says fiance, and it makes me laugh every time. Soapbox Clots. There was one where it's a Simpsons and Pokemon mashup, and it was one of those where I'm like, you have to have seen this very specific episode of The Simpsons, which came out, it's one of the older seasons. You have to know enough about Pokemon. Like, who was that for? But I showed him, and he's like, oh, that's great. And I was like, there it is. There's my one. There's my, out of all the years I've been doing convention, I've had maybe 4 people who've been like, oh, that's really funny. And I'm like, yes, thank you. It cracked me up too. Okay, Mayor Squish, can I ask you a very stupid question?
Yes.
So I'm curious, how much about US presidents are you required to learn in school?
Well, okay. So I'm assuming that we teach history different than you guys do.
I would
We kind
imagine.
of, well, first of all, like, you guys have a very modular system. So, like, one year you have history, and then the next year you don't, or something like that, right?
Yeah,
I'm
depending
assuming.
on well, it's yeah, because you'll sometimes have, or even the history classes that you'll take, some years will focus on one thing and some years will focus on others. So yeah, like we had one year that was all just, we'll say, social studies, and it was all US stuff, and then we have 1 year of world history, then we go back to, like, presidential history and stuff like that.
The only this you're gonna like this. The only kind of evidence of that theory of mine I have is an episode of Gilmore Girls where Elaine is like, "Yeah, I'm not taking chemistry this year," and her mother's like, "What? You only took 1 year? That's enough for you?" And I'm just like, "Oh, okay, that's how you guys do education."
Yeah.
So for us, it's basically you just take it every year. Like, you have it every year. You can't pick or choose anything. But so for that reason, we kind of run through like ancient Greece and Rome, etc., all the way up to modern history, and then
Okay.
modern history is like 11th and 12th grade, mostly 12th grade. So there's mention of like the important presidents. We covered Mount Rushmore, anything about the Civil War, stuff like that.
Makes
So
sense.
we know some of it, but probably not as in depth as you guys.
I wouldn't make any promises for how in depth we know. Just putting that out there.
Well, you guys can
remember-
actually take U.S. history, which, you know,
Right.
it's not a thing here.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Well, it's always a bummer to me because I would say for the majority of the time when it comes to anything outside of the US history-wise that we take, it's usually either we're covering specific wars, which are in depth and complicated and deserve time, but like I didn't know that much about like the monarchy of Europe and how it grew and its influence with Spain and Russia and Germany and all of this. Like, you get to know certain monarchs, but you don't necessarily know lineage to that point. So it was much the same, where it was just specific events would get more focused to learn about the specific people who were involved in that. But yeah, it took after that where I finally like got to get into more of the stuff. I was like, yes, but wait, how did we get to the craziness of this king? I want to know more.
Yeah, it's kind of the same here. Like, obviously, like if you're making a syllabus, you have to pick and choose the most important and influential things. So context isn't always taught right. And then also, like, we do have a lot of like localized stuff. Like, we learned a lot about like the Austro-Hungarian Empire and stuff like that. But yeah, as much as I hated history, they covered probably pretty much everything.
Yeah,
which is good.
yeah. This was one of my once again where I'm just like, how can I be a good student and yet be so bad at so many things? Because I love history, like the storytelling of history. I eat it up. I love it. I am abysmal at remembering dates, which, hey, guess what? You know what we're tested on? Dates.
Yeah.
And like, when did this happen? And when was this person alive? And this and this. And I'm just like, I don't know, but they did this really cool thing. They're like, yes, but Emily, tell me when. I'm like, I could not tell you. Gun to my head, I could not give you an answer to this. But, you know. Have I ever heard of Empress Sissy? It doesn't jump out to me right away. But like I always say, my brain is broken, so there's a chance that I have, and I only know details, but not the name.
So I'm guessing she's referring to the thing on at least my Netflix, which is a show.
Mhm.
But funnily enough, this person was Austrian,
Hmm.
as far as I know.
Interested.
Yes.
But also, like, I'm a sucker for, I am a huge sucker. I love historical fiction. Like, I enjoy that so much. And I I can appreciate that this is maybe not exactly how things happened, but we're having fun. We're telling a cool story. So the Amazon Prime series Victoria with Clara from Doctor Who, I enjoyed the heck out of. I think it definitely hits some very specific points in her life, but it's elevated for a, dramatic and television effect. But I loved it. I enjoyed the heck out of it. So I'm always down for it. I watched The Tudors and all of that, which on historical accuracy, I don't think they were alone in doing some of their stuff quite as much as the show would have had you believe. But I think what's fun for me is I love like watching stuff like that and then digging into like the actual history of it, especially if it's a period of time that I didn't know that much about. Because I really didn't know a lot about King Henry the Sixth, King Henry the Eighth. Now I'm blanking on it.
The one without the wives is the eighth.
Yeah, eighth. Okay,
yes.
I was like, wait, 6 wives, King Henry the Eighth.
Yes.
Like I remember we talked about him, and obviously because the impacts of his life affected things so much, but you didn't really get into the nitty gritty details, especially because I think we were learning about it in like 7th grade. But it's then fun to go in and read into more elements of it and find out what was actually happening. And I think sometimes too, just realizing that some of this stuff was taking place over like 10 to 15 years. Like in the show, it feels like things move so fast, but these are actually very, slow moving machinations. Divorced, beheaded, died, divorced, beheaded, survived.
There's a song.
Yes. Steph on the podcast with me loves the musical Six. So also their costumes are just dope. Yeah. Look at a little snake buddy. Oh, his little friend.
Oh.
Little friend buddy. I have great respect for snakes. I just don't enjoy when they scare the poop out of me in the garden when I'm not expecting them.
Yeah, I turned into like a 50s housewife. Eek! Like, and same thing. I think snakes are neat and I respectify them, and but when you're hopping along and suddenly snake,
Yep.
I become a 50s housewife.
That's always me with spiders. Like they startle me so much. Not that I think I'm necessarily afraid of them. It's just the shock factor. And I'm just like, no. Once again, I really appreciate you eat all the bugs, but please get out of my house.
Oh my god.
Look at him. Oh, he's so cute. I love him. Little face.
There's a little face.
Face. So Del, you've oh, okay, yes. Empress Sissy, the socially awkward empress. All right, I'm on board. Whoops. Well, I also think so. This is absolutely a product of me being such a huge fan of Austen and like Regency era stuff. And even like Charlotte Bronte a little bit, even though she's a major bummer. So I didn't like her stuff as much as I liked Austen, but it's one of those where I would love to very much like Doctor Who visit these times, but I am so happy and grateful that I did not live in these times because man, it would stink to be a girl in so much of history. It just like, no, but to attend one of these grand balls, like that just seems amazing. But, you know, again, amazing if you are well-to-do and of good class standing and have connections and, you know, all of these things. So. Oh, I'm sorry. My brain is really, we're taking an interesting adventure today. Did either of you watch the Netflix series, The Crown?
Not yet.
I watched the first 2 seasons.
Okay. So, I'm pretty sure, well, wait, before I do that, like I can check. Let me see. Let's see which season it's in.
I've made a terrible mistake.
Uh-oh.
I shall undo.
Control Z, Control Z.
Control Z.
All right. All right, let's see. Okay, so it is in season 1. Okay. Yeah. All right, so yeah, I think it's in season 1 of The Crown. So Winston Churchill is featured in it. And honestly, I was shocked. So he's played by John Lithgow, who I know is incredibly talented, but the performance he gives is just, he's so good. I was blown away with the depth that he brought to it. But there is an amazing episode, which it's one of those where I really want to rewatch it because it's so good. But it has made me cry twice now.
Oh my gosh.
I can't bring myself to watch it again. But he's being honored and he's having a portrait painted of him. And it's this whole thing where the artist is coming in and doing studies of him. And like, it is once again, it's based on a lot of true events, but there's still some like murkiness with any of the cover-up stuff. But this portrait that ends up getting painted doesn't survive and he hates it. But there's this whole like bonding moment between Churchill and the artist, and this whole like the episode is just
I love that episode so much.
Oh, it's so good, but it's heavy.
So
like
good.
It's so heavy. So
that's so good.
It's so good. So try not to spoil it too much. But yeah, let me
But yeah, John Lithgow does an amazing job as Churchill. Like, I had no idea that. Okay, this is no surprise to anyone, but I don't watch a lot of stuff. So I was not familiar with his prior work. So I did not know that he was not, in fact, British.
Yeah.
And honestly, he could have fooled me. Like, I had no idea. He played that so well.
Yeah. And it's, I love, there's a very cool guy on YouTube, but he's usually just being interviewed. And he's a linguist, and he talks about, specifically, they'll interview him for how actors did with their accents. And it's great because he breaks it down, and he really goes into the details of, like, this is the shape your tongue makes when you're speaking this dialect. This is your mouth shape. And, like, you know, he talks about actors who had extensive time to prep and others who were kind of just thrown in and be like, yeah, you can do an accent, right? You know, it's vaguely Scottish. And like, that's not direction. You can't do it. Like, no, just do an English accent. It's like, okay, do you want North England? Do you want West? Do you want this? Do you want, you know, highbrow, lowbrow? What age group? Like, but it's really, really cool when he's talking about actors portraying real people, and especially real people who have very distinct speech patterns, because you either make the decision of you try to mimic it exactly, or you try and get close enough that it's kind of an homage. And so I think of Cuba Gooding Jr. in the series where he was playing O.J. Simpson. So he doesn't look like OJ, and he doesn't totally speak like him, but he manages to catch the mannerisms of him, and so it works. Like, that's one of those where you could see the conscious decision was made not to just do a version of it, but to embody the person more so. And it, yeah, but with John Lithgow, like, it was just, oh my gosh, like, it's little subtle things in the way that he bursts into emotion, and oh my gosh, so good.
Oh, that show was so good too. That the one with or about OJ.
Yes, which I can't. Was it the Trials? So I can't remember the name.
Yeah,
of
it's wasn't it called like American Murder Story or something like that?
Yes, I think so, because it's an ongoing series.
Yeah, because they did a second season about like the House of Versace or something,
which I didn't care.
Yeah, I did not watch that.
I didn't watch that one. Yeah, but it's got Sarah Paulson in it, who does an incredible job, and so it's, again, I was I was way too young to really understand everything that was going on with the OJ trial when it was happening. And my family definitely kept me away from the news of all of it. But in going back through and listening to a couple different podcasts talk about it and highlighting the amount of time that was spent in the press just berating and belittling and tearing apart the way that the female attorney looked, like, it was just heartbreaking. And I felt like they captured that so well in this show, where you were just like, it was hard to watch sometimes, because I was like, this isn't the reason we're all here. Why does it matter what she looks like? So yeah, big old feels about that one. My emotions. Every time. Yeah. So good stuff.
Yeah, Dell says that it was called American Crime Story, not Murder Story. That's my bad.
That makes sense. I wasn't gonna get there. I was not getting there. Yeah. I really enjoy The Crown, Philomena, but I love pretty much anything about the Windsor dynasty, and, you know, Queen Elizabeth and her children and all of that. So I get that other people aren't quite like as jazzed to dig into that, but especially the first and second season, I thought were just done so beautifully.
Awesome. And yeah, it's definitely something that's on our list.
Yeah. It's heavy though, and I don't want to say it moves slow, because it's a negative towards it, and it doesn't move slow. It is well plotted. It is purposely slow because of what it's doing. But I could also see, like, I could binge maybe 2 episodes before I needed a break.
Yeah.
So, you know, it took me a little bit longer to get through it. So, long roundabout way. The artist's name was Graham Sutherland. So he was the artist who painted the portrait of Churchill.
Gotcha.
I wanted to actually call him out. Let's see. I'm trying to actually like plot a little bit before I work into the piece more. Like, okay, where are we headed with this? Oh, it's been funny, Philomena, because now that I'm painting, rooms in the new place, I've had a number of people who've been like, "Hey, so you gonna paint a mural on one of those walls?" And I was like, you know what? Maybe, but it's gonna be a ways away from now.
I am chomping at doing the one in the bathroom I've got planned.
Yeah.
So when that all was supposed to happen, we lost our furnace died, so I didn't feel good about having the windows open while I painted. Because I have to, because it's a bathroom, I'm going to do a coat of, whatever the chemicals are, so that we don't get the black mold.
Right, which is good. It's good to not get that.
Right, so that didn't happen. And then when the furnace was fixed, then our household came down with the dirty sea. So then like that didn't happen. And now I'm kind of in this kick where I just don't want to drive anywhere.
Yeah.
So to go get my supplies, I'm like, meh.
I feel that.
So I will be doing that mural in the bathroom, and I'm still super excited about it. But meh.
Excuse me, ma'am. That's not where you belong.
Oh my god, he's so cute. Just like you said, Emily, I'm doing this for me.
I love it. Love it. I just want to squish his little belly. I mean, yours too, Nicole, but I can't see his belly as well.
Well, he was a heavier fellow, so probably squishy.
Probably
squishy and
squishy.
soft.
Yeah. All right, what layer do we want to do? I think we're going to do here. This one. Let me do it. Yeah. Okay. You know, it's funny. Sorry, just as I'm drawing all of these spots and thinking about it. Like, I know that getting picked and producing it are a thing that is very prestigious, and it's a whole thing when it comes to actual presidential portraits. But it's one of those where I don't honestly know if I could tell you what any of them look like, or, you know, aside from the ones that end up in the history books that we had to study at the time, like, I don't know if I know, you know, I couldn't tell you about any of them, even though I know it's a big thing. That's always weird to me, where I'm just like, I feel like I should be more aware, but I just am never kind of on that.
I think there's only one I remember, and I'm blanking on his name right now, but he was the one that was there with the founding fathers. He took a picture of like signing the Declaration of Independence, stuff like that.
Okay.
God, what was his name? God damn it. He was on the Hamilton mixtape. That's why I know about him. And then I researched him and I was like, wow, he was really there.
I probably should know this, but I'm blanking. I'm also
I want
not
to say his last name was Campbell or something.
Okay.
I forget. Oh, Trumbull. Okay, John Trumbull.
Hey, okay.
Close enough.
My dog is straight up snoring.
Aww.
So cute.
Yeah. I haven't heard any more sounds from the cat. The last one was her heaving some hairball onto the floor. So
Cats is jerks.
I felt bad. I feel so bad because when they're getting sick, like it's the most worst sounding, and I'm watching her poor little body like just like squish and contract. I'm like, I'm sorry, baby. Okay. I don't think I actually represented this pattern accurately, but we might just go with it. Mine looks more like giraffe spots. It's okay. I opted to draw the pattern on her dress and forego the lace because ain't nobody got time for that. I'm sitting here and I'm just thinking about that episode from The Crown. I'm like, I kind of want to watch it again now. Just so good.
It feels, the way you're describing it, it feels similar to how we felt in the house with the West Wing.
Oh, yes.
Like I said, I wanted him to be not just my president, but my father as well. Like, in my fan fiction, he's my dad.
Yeah, oh gosh. I've never made it all the way through, but I have rewatched the first couple of seasons many times.
Mm-hmm.
And I have moments where I get so up in my feels with it. Because I'm just like, oh, yeah. Yeah. I remember someone was really pushing for me to get into House of Cards. And I was having that issue where I'm just like, I need the optimism of the West Wing. I can't handle
Yeah.
the reality of House of Cards and the cynicism. I just can't do it. I can't. I'm
I
sorry.
hear you. I mean, there are times, a lot of times when I have to like even check myself like, okay, am I watching this Disney movie? Like, where's the arc? Like, can I cut out the sad part of the arc and just hop, skip, and jump over to like, it's all better.
Yep.
I'm like, I don't know, like the last time anybody has watched Bambi, but I'm going to suggest never watch Bambi. My suggestion is never watch Bambi.
Just don't do it. Just skip that one.
And then, so the last time I saw it was years ago on a awful road trip with some nieces and nephews, and they had one of those minivans that they had like a TV in the minivan.
Yep.
Ugh.
Yep.
Ugh. Anyway, so we're watching Bambi, and I'm like sniveling, and I look over at my little poop head nephew, and he's like, there's nothing. And I say to my sister, I'm like, get this one checked out, because maybe he needs glasses, or he's a serial killer, because not in my family, thank you.
He seemed very okay with everything happening.
Totally fine.
Oh gosh.
But I also understand, I always have to I have to put things through the filter, understanding my squareness. Like, I am a square. Like, I am a lady. Yeah, I have tattoos and I cuss and I, whatevs, but I am a square. And so I always have to put things through that filter, like, oh, Philomena, that's just your square showing. But, whew, don't watch Bambi.
I will say, for the amount of Disney that I watch, that is not one that I go back and be like, man, you know what I really want to watch is Bambi. Although more often than not, and I don't know why, is I will just break into song of Drip Drip Drop Little April Showers. I don't even like the song that much, but it's just one of those that like it's in my head.
Yeah.
And I was like, why do you live here? Why do you how did you get in here? No, but I have it so there are some very intense scenes in that movie. So to pick just one is is difficult, but there is the scene that lives in my head from that is the bird who is in the field. So I think she's like a pheasant, but she's kind of a mom, or there's a couple of female pheasants, and they're panicking, and they're so like, that scene scared me as a child, and it still lives in there.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. The movie I sobbed at, like openly in the movie theater, sobbed on a date, make it even better, was Forrest Gump.
Oh.
So I don't want to, I mean, when can you like let a spoiler go?
I feel like you can spoil well, let's ask Mayor Squish. Have you seen Forrest Gump?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so we're good.
So there is, for those playing at home, there's an area in the story early on where Forrest Gump's mom, when he's a little kiddo, let's say, degrades herself so that he can be allowed to go to the traditional school, like grammar school or high school.
Mm-hmm.
From that point on, and that's early in the film, like if somebody, I don't know, check it, I openly sobbed thinking about all of the things, all of the women, all of the history around people doing potentially degrading things in order to get something they want or they need. Right? Sorry, okay. So I did not get a second date with that person. And rightly so, because I was unhinged. So Forrest Gump did me in.
I'm trying to think of ones that'll really. I mean, there are many. There are many movies that will get me, and I will just be inconsolable.
On the other end of that spectrum, I laughed so hard and for so long at. Oh dang! It's a movie. It's a sci-fi movie. The actor who was Doogie Howser is in it.
Okay.
It's got a big worm at the end. Space Galaxy. Starship Troopers. Okay, I openly guffawed during so much of the movie that somebody complained, and like the management came and was like, "Miss, could you settle down?"
Oh my gosh!
It was just such ridiculous line after ridiculous line. Isn't Richardson in that? The actress.
Denise, yes.
Denise, yeah. I just thought it was the most ridiculous thing, and it just tickled me so much that I would, again, uncontrollable.
I love that.
I have no remorse, though, over any of that.
Yeah, that was me in the movie theater of Wreck-It Ralph. I embarrassed the group of people I was with because we saw it at a time when it was early on and there was a lot of kids in there, and I would start cracking up at the jokes, and some of the jokes were not for kids. So you've got little kids around me just looking at me being like, what are you doing? And I'm just dying because it's so funny.
I love it. My friends, I have another meeting I need to get to. So I think I'm going to start wrapping up, if that's okay.
Yeah.
I do apologize for leaving early.
No, you're good. He's looking pretty darn cute.
Thank you.
Bunsy for press.
These little carrots.
Oh my god, little carrot friends. Carrot constituents.
Yes, exactly. And there's something about the fact that they're on Team Bunsy, but he's gonna eat them.
It's a very strange relationship that they have. It's definitely Oh, hair stituates. Nice, Kurt.
Oh yes.
Nice. I dig it.
Ding ding.
Yeah.
Ding.
Oh, I love it so much. But yeah, where can people find you, follow you, buy your cool art, take your cool classes, all the things?
Thank you. So the easiest is philomenajackstudio.com. I have too many links on my website. Go press all those buttons and at Philomena Jack Studio wherever's, and that's Philomena with an F like flower. And I am so grateful to be part of this community and to be able to play with these other artists. I mean, look at the things these women are making. Amazing. And thank you for letting me be here.
Oh, it was wonderful. We're so happy to have you. Thanks for coming and playing with us. Yay. All right.
Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. All right. Yeah. Where are you at, Mayor Squish?
I'm adding the gold.
Yes. Looks cool.
It's so fun to play with gold and just any metallic. I'm just so happy right now.
I love it. All right. I think. All right, I'm gonna set Alice to the side for just a sec and sketch a little bit because I think there's more I want to do, but I also think I'm right at that edge of if I keep going, I'm gonna mess it up, and I kind of like it. So
I feel that.
Gonna work on one other little thing, and then you let me know when you want to do show and tell, and we will show and tell.
I mean, I could play with gold watercolor for hours. So. Do you remember when we were talking about that neither of us work from left to right in our paintings, in our traditional paintings?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just rotating the page. Just trying to find a way to put my hand somewhere.
I support this.
Yeah.
It's bad. Like, it's really bad where I'm just like, why are you this way?
Yeah.
Okay, here's my... Look at that baby. Oh, don't get out. Get out of there. Here you are. So sweet. So I didn't officially greet you, but hello, Kurt. Thanks for joining us. So I know you had shown me you got a whole metallic palette. That's fun to say.
Yes.
So is
I
the
actually
gold
have two now.
Woo! Yes. I support this.
Yeah. Should I do some show and tell from or of my art supplies?
Yes. Absolutely.
Yes. So, okay. This one I picked up fairly recently. These are not the ones that I usually use. So this is the Van Gogh metallic interference box.
Look
So
at
like
colors.
these 6 here are toppers, like shimmer toppers, and then the others you can use on their own. Because I wanted to compare them to, hold on, the Fine Tech palette, because the Fine Tech palette is like just the gold standard, no pun intended. So I wanted to see if I could find any that were just as good, but maybe for cheaper, because this palette was expensive.
Yeah.
And so far, I'm actually really happy
Yay!
with the Van Gogh. So the opacity isn't quite there, but it's really close. So I'm actually like really, really thrilled.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah, I'm just very happy.
Yay! I love it. Love metallic palette. It's also, again, so fun to say.
Yes.
What up, RLB? Yes, it is Fat Louie. So I had 2 ideas today for my not so presidential portraits. One of them was the lovely Alice Roosevelt and her pet snake Emily Spinach, and the other one was Fat Louie. So we're gonna do a little quick kitty cat portrait because I can't be stopped. President Camacho. Today. No, President Camacho. I feel like that's a lot to capture in one piece of art. Like, that's a big ask, Kurt. Okay. I feel like I gotta bring this little nose down. I'm trying to be good about not cartoonifying him as much, because I kind of have a very cartoony way that I draw cats. So I'm trying to be a little bit more accurate. But they also don't make sense because they don't have bones and they're just liquid. So it's just a puddle. It's a puddle of fur.
Oh, that drippy little smile.
No, I was just gonna say, look at your gold.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god, it's so good. Oh, it's so good. Oh,
Yeah.
it's so shiny. Also, I'm loving what you did with all the pattern on his jacket and his tie.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I wanted to take inspiration from his work, The Kiss.
yes. One of my
Because
favorites.
really, like, the skin and the hair and stuff is just a normal painting, but then everything else is, like, gold or gold pattern.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, yeah.
Something I always thought was so cool about that piece is, you know, it's named The Kiss. It's this very intimate moment between these two people, but I almost feel like they fade into the chaos of everything happening around them. It's kind of this little subtle thing. It's just,
Yeah,
so
I think, not to get too, hypothetical, but I think it's more like it gives the feeling of like getting lost in a kiss, right? Like feeling the emotion. So like the gold is all the emotion.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Maybe
No,
that's a little too deep.
No, I love it. And I agree. It's, you always have people talking about trying to capture these really emotional moments. You know, you write about it in your journal about how it felt, and I had fireworks in my head and all of this. And so you're trying to capture that visually, which is really challenging.
Yes.
So I dig it.
Yeah, I'm usually not a big fan of like over-interpreting everything, but in this case, I feel like there was probably some intent behind it.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I would get a little bit hung up with poetry sometimes when the teacher would be like, yes, and when they used this word blue, this is what they meant. And I'm like, or they just meant blue.
Yeah, I had the same issue. I was like, is it really that deep though? Or did the author maybe just like that color?
Yeah. And I think it's something I love hearing Steph talk about it because one, she's so much more knowledgeable on Shakespeare than I am. But also just honest in that, like, you know, the people who are like, no, he's, you know, this amazing, like high elevated art, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, he wrote pop art for the masses. Like, he wrote dick jokes to make people laugh and entertain them. Like, you can still appreciate his work, but let's be real about what the motivation was. So I like
It's
that.
again, it's kind of that conversation that we had earlier about the Beatles. It's like, yeah, the cultural impact was great, but the work itself wasn't like, I mean, it was eloquent for sure, obviously, but it wasn't some like academic piece of fiction that you
Exactly.
needed to be a genius to understand.
Yeah, the whole point being you could have people who were standing on the ground in front of the stage could understand what was going on. And
Yeah.
yeah, I think the impressive part comes from the beautiful interactions between characters in the stories and these incredibly complex human emotions that are universal and that he was able to capture. And
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those too where I feel like just because it's not the most deep or groundbreaking thing doesn't mean that you can't enjoy it and it can't have a really big impact on you. Like, it can still be incredibly powerful and incredibly important to you. It doesn't diminish that just because, it's not elevated, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. Cannot actually figure out what is happening with this crown here, so we're going to make it up a little bit.
Dang it.
Uh-oh.
No, I keep dipping my brush in the wrong water because I have 2 cups of water, and the one is specifically for metallic stuff so that the rest of my piece doesn't just get shiny.
Yep. Nope, that's smart.
Because it's happened before.
Uh-huh. Well, that's my consistent. Emily, did you dip your brush in your coffee? Or did you dip it in your paint water? Who's to say?
It's really funny how the brain works.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, I catch myself doing it too, and, like, the 2 receptacles don't even look alike.
Nope.
I use mason jars or, like, old jam jars for my painting water, and I drink out of, like, a tall, skinny cup. It's not even remotely the same. But still.
Yep. Yep, my brain says, look, cup, put paintbrush in. I said, no! Do not put paintbrush in. Oh, gosh. Gotta figure out a way to break between what is head squish and what is because he's a big chunky boy.
I mean, really, chonky cats are the best.
Oh, they're so good. There's one I follow on Instagram called Chonk Lord Ferdinand, and it just he's a big old orange cat, and I love him.
Sounds adorable.
I also follow what is the whole handle? I think it's Leg Up Cats, and it's literally just every picture they post is a cat with their back leg up. Like, I love it so much. I'm like, I'm a simple creature. It's so ridiculous. Also, what up, Bean? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Look at that turkey leg. Oh my gosh, with Vera's little white like socks that she has, I can only ever think of the little like turkey leg toppers from cartoons. Like that's all I can see with her little legs when she puts it up like that.
That is adorable.
Also, I forget who it was. Was around me one time when she, put her leg up and went to town cleaning herself, and I was there and I was cheering her on, and he was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "What? Get it, get it. You know, if you could bend like that, you'd do it." You're just like, "Oh my god, you're so weird." Yes, I spend a lot of time alone with my cat. What of it? There it is. Get that little bit. It's funny too, because when they're wearing a collar, all of the the skin and the fur around their neck changes just a little bit, and gotta get that. I mean, would I would I choose to clean myself with my tongue given the opportunity? No. But would I love to be able to fold myself in half like my cat does? Absolutely. Let's go. Trying to figure out what I'm doing with all these soft brushes and no hard outlines. I don't know who I am anymore. Nope. A little bit. Ooh. Have to sneeze. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Sorry, I had the choice between not sneezing directly onto my tablet or muting my mic. So I do wish for the what I can only ever describe as the old white guy sneeze, where there's a whole 15-second buildup beforehand. So you have time to do all the things, but I don't have that yet. Yet.
Are you planning to be an old white guy when you're
Hey,
grown
you
up?
never know. You never know what's in my journey. It's not a plan, but no, so I've never been able to sneeze daintily or quietly, but there are times when I will sneeze so hard that it will hurt across the center of my back, and I would love to not have that be a thing. I'd very much enjoy that not being something that I got to experience. But and to your Oh, because in that buildup, it can go away. Yeah, there is some frustration when a sneeze disappears, but you don't get the relief. Like it went away, but you still feel like you have to sneeze, and that's terrible feeling. And to your point, Bean, the hot water situation has been rectified. Hooray! Rejoicing throughout the land.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Tuesday, I think. Oh, it's because his back comes way up here. Sorry, squirrel. Yeah, as of last Tuesday, we were able to get a new water heater in and installed. So all of the apartments now have hot water. All is well. Mostly. Most things are well. That situation has been successfully crisis averted. Thank you for asking. Yeah, hot showers for everybody. Is it sad that the biggest thing I was most excited about was the fact that I didn't have to do my dishes and like by boiling water and then pouring it in and washing them that way, that I could just have hot water out of my sink, and that was so nice. But yes, things are. Yay! Thank you, Simkin. Thank you, Kurt. All right, Kurt, I got one for you. I'm curious. Who's your or we'll say we don't have to do favorite, but who's your top 3 presidents? I feel like you have opinions on presidents, and I want to hear them. I wonder if it did the notification because I've got the stream elements going. I don't know.
No, I think that's Twitch.
Okay, I was gonna say it looks like it normally
Okay.
looks on my mobile dashboard. It never shows up for me in StreamYard, so I only ever see it through the mobile app.
Oh yeah.
Like Pierce. Nice. I enjoy one of the more enjoyable bits that I had from How I Met Your Mother was when Marshall was making all of his charts, and he's like, here's the presidents in order by the dirtiness of their name. And I was like, I like this. This makes me laugh. Washington, Lincoln, and controversial pick Reagan. Oh, all right. Okay. Well, I feel like there's. Oh, I don't even know what layer I was drawing on. I don't know. Don't think it was the wrong layer. I just don't know what layer it was. I have no idea what I was going to say. Brains. This little bit right here just looks funny. Why do you look funny? Mm-mm. Oh, so I did not read the first fun fact. Fun fact number 1, Harry S. Truman's middle name is S. Fun fact number 2, fun presidential fact. Washington not only didn't want to be president, he turned down the salary when he was elected. At that time, that was $25K, which was huge at that time. Yeah. Yeah. I love going back and seeing, like, what would $25K be now in the equivalent?
Yeah, especially I think today it's 40,000.
Is the salary for a president?
I believe that's what I read. Because yes, I looked up presidents before the stream.
Yeah. You do your due diligence. I appreciate it.
Well, I try.
Okay. Oh, 400. So that's what 25 or wow. Start again. They make 400,000.
Yeah, apparently my brain just left off the one.
That's okay. Honestly, I kind of wish they just made like 40,000, that it wasn't a very good paying job, so that if you were doing it, you had to really want it. But okay.
I mean, not to get too political, but I feel like most people who end up being president aren't exactly poor. So.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Let's try this guy. Where I wanted that line to go. Mm-mm. There was a great podcast that I was listening to related to Lincoln, where it was talking about the establishment of the Pinkerton Detective Agency and all of the craziness that they were going through surrounding an assassination attempt on him when he was campaigning. No, he must have already been president. Okay. 25K in 1788, adjusted for inflation, a little less than almost 800,000. Yeah. I gotta bring this down a little bit. I'm doing the bad thing. I'm not looking at my reference as much as I should. I'm drawing out of my head. It's not what you should do. Mm-hmm. Not specifically related to anything, but Kurt, did you ever read The Killer Angels? Can't remember if we talked about that or not. Killer Angels is historical fiction by Michael Shara about the Civil War. But it's really beautifully written. Cake.
I made a big mess.
Ooh. But now your table is pretty.
Yeah, everything's gonna sparkle today. Until I deep clean my desk. That's fine. I like it sparkly.
Kurt, that surprises me. I feel like you would have been a history buff. Aw. Whereas I was the maniac who was like, what? I could take AP US history and pay to take the exam? Sign me up. Yeah. Get to college and then be like, wow, you took a lot of stuff that wasn't art. Yes, I did. I feel like there's been a part of this painting where I was I was starting to lean into the Renaissance art painters who were like, no, I've definitely seen a cat before. I know what cats look like.
Oh, was it you who shared the sex weasels?
No.
What a bizarre sentence.
But I appreciate that you thought of me because that sounds like something I would do.
You. I thought it may have been you because you said you were really into history. So apparently, and I if I get this wrong, I'm really sorry. But apparently, like if you had a portrait of yourself done with a weasel or like a mink or something, it would signify that you liked having sex or something. I don't remember. Something like that.
Okay.
And I was just like, what a weird fact.
Yep.
Let me look it up so I actually get it right. Don't
Love
spread any misinformation.
Well, I'm thinking of the this is so bad. I'm literally thinking of a very specific piece of artwork because it appears in Animal Crossing, but there's a portrait of a woman who's got like a blue headdress thing. She's similar to Vermeer's, Girl with the Pearl Earring, but she's holding a mink.
Yes. That is one of them.
So
yes, it is specifically in Renaissance art, which is why I was thinking of it. That's amazing. Okay, so it was a series of tweets. It was widely believed in the 16th century that weasels conceived through their ears and gave birth through their mouth. This spawned a whole language of hidden sexual symbolism in art, with weasels standing in for everything from fertility talismans to phallic symbols. So basically just like a really elaborate dick joke. And I'm
This
just
is
like,
amazing.
yes, I approve of this.
Yes. Well, I love it too because it further proves that no, we've not evolved as a species. We are the exact same dirty birds as we were before.
Yep.
The things we did before the internet, right? That's pretty funny. I love it. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that with me. I'm so happy. I'm happy to know that. Oh God, it's so funny. Well, there is something I do genuinely enjoy of all of the, the little subtle like things you'd include in a portrait to kind of like signify something else to tell somebody so that it looks like I'm just giving you a small portrait of myself, but what I'm actually telling you, is this, that, and meet at the place, and we're gonna be adulterous and all that stuff.
Oh no, how scandalous.
I know. All right. How are you feeling with Mr. Taft?
I'm pretty much in the finishing stages.
All right.
If you want to wrap up.
Yeah, I'm gonna add a little bit more on my purple, and then I'll be good. I should have hit up B-Mel for this because I know he's a big history buff. Although I feel like I have those moments where I'll start to say something like, yeah, I think I remember this thing, and like just watch the people who actually know the history and be like, no, that's not how that goes. And I'm like, what? No, I'm definitely close. I'm definitely close on at least some part of this. Let's do this and see if we like this a little bit better.
Oh, that cat is so cute.
Aw, you like Fat Louie?
So cute.
Yeah,
it reminds me. Do you remember, like, I don't fully remember which decade this was. I feel like it might have been 80s, 90s, where you would take those like super over the top glamour shots where you were like wearing a crown and tiara and whatnot. Mm-hmm. This is what it reminds me of, and I'm here for it. This is what we should be spending our money on.
I support all of this.
Just glamour shots of pets. Yes.
I'm pretty sure I just had a TikTok photographer pop up on my For You page that was showing like over the top pictures of cats and crowns and like draped capes and stuff. And I'm like, yes. Although I'm 90% sure that my cat would not sit for it, but I would enjoy it. Yeah, it's a whole aesthetic. Yeah, like the idea of like going to Sears and specifically getting set up to take them. Yeah, that's a thing. I knew a lot of my friends' families did that for their, anniversaries and then birthdays, and it was the whole thing. The whole thing. All right. Whoops. And then, yeah. All right. Let's put it up there. Boop. Okay. Let us show and tell.
Yeah.
Let's see him. Let's see the sparkles.
Okay. Let me adjust my camera. If it lets me. Yeah, so that is William. Yeah, I just kind of went ham with the gold because
I love it so much.
yeah, it's very sparkly, and then also kind of engraving style.
I
thing.
like it.
Yes.
There's something so cool about the balance with the hard black outline and these hard shaped patterns of his jacket, and then how soft and like shaded his face looks. Like I love those two next to each other. They work so well.
Yeah, that's the thing that really that's so great about the gold pieces from Klimt is that he would like do an oil painting and then just put some gold foil on it. Like you can't really shade gold foil.
Right.
But it's just I dig
So
it.
cool. Yay! Oh, this is so
Yay.
awesome. I love it. Hey, if people want to see more of your awesome stuff, where can they find you?
You can go to my card, which is mayorsquish.card with 2 R's.co, which has all my socials, and I'm working on my Etsy shop still, but my Redbubble is fully stocked. There's like, I think 45 designs on there or something that you can get on pretty much anything, so
Yeah. Will you drop your card link in there? I had it saved, but
Yes.
I've not, for some reason, decided to put it someplace where I can get to it easily. Because why would I do that?
No, right?
Why would I do that? We also had a moment where during one of the streams where we're like, "Hey, we should all really make sure we go in and update our little commands here when they pop up in stream." Did any of us do it? No, we did not.
No.
Nope.
I remember saying that, but then like no.
I made a post about it in the Discord. Didn't do a thing. It's fine. We got this. We are crushing this. All right. So here's a me. So my first one, this is Alice Roosevelt. She is the eldest daughter of Teddy Roosevelt. And her little friend is Emily Spinach, the snake, which I will never get tired of saying. So she had a pet snake. She used to wear it around her arm to formal events. So yeah, and I just love it because it's just so good. She is super House Slytherin. You're right, Randall. Yeah, so that was super fun. I had a lot of fun. I did a lot more texture work than I normally did. It was fun to shade in just grays. I'm glad I went with that instead of doing full color and then making the snake pop out. And then I did a quick little Fat Louie, which if you are unfamiliar, Fat Louie is the lovely, lovely kitty cat from the Princess Diaries. So I enjoy Fat Louie. So those are my not so presidential portraits. Yay! You can find me, follow me across the internet at a swan named Emily. Hey, I also just made a card, which is going to be fun to say card. I like it because I sound like an insane person, which is fun.
No, we just sound like pirates. That's fine.
I like that too. That's good. Yeah, so mine is a swan named Emily.card.co. So let me drop that in there. Yeah, so I'm going to try and work on updating that a little bit and maybe showing off some more current work, but also you can find me anywhere on the internet at S1 named Emily. If you want to see more of the amazing Doodle Crew artists, follow us at Doodle Crew Draw across the internets. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. If you have ideas or prompts you'd like to see us do, drop us a line, let us know. We are also working on another episode of the Doodle Crew. So if you want Doodle Crew After Dark, there's going to be another one, and that'll probably be another pay-per-view stream. We might do it live on YouTube. We're still trying to figure out those details. But yeah, if you want to see Doodle Crew After Dark, you can join us for those as well. But if not, enjoy the rest of your day, everyone. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. We will be back at some point. I don't have my calendar open, so I don't remember when. But check for our posts, and we'll tell you when we'll be there. We love you all. Goodbye!
Goodbye.